For decades, the United States has been the most powerful country on earth. Its military dominates the skies, its navy controls the oceans, and its currency drives the global economy. But today, a confrontation in the Middle East is raising a dangerous question. Can a heavily sanctioned regional power like Iran actually challenge the global dominance of the United States? Because if it can, the entire world order may be changing. When the Cold War ended in 1991 with the collapse of the Soviet Union, the United States entered what analysts called the unipolar moment. No rival could match American power. The US had the largest military, the strongest alliances, and an economy that shaped global finance. For more than 3 decades, Washington effectively sat at the center of the global system. But history rarely stays static. And today, the conflict between the United States and Iran is exposing new limits to that dominance. On paper, the balance of power between the two countries looks almost absurd. The United States spends more on defense than the next 10 countries combined. Iran's economy is smaller than many American states. Yet, Iran sits in one of the most strategically important regions in the world, the Persian Gulf. And right next to Iran lies one of the most critical choke points on earth, the Strait of Hormuz. Nearly 20% of the world's oil supply passes through this narrow waterway, which means that even a limited conflict in this region can shake the entire global economy. Iran understands it cannot defeat the United States in a conventional war. So instead, it plays a different game. Rather than confronting American power directly, Iran relies on asymmetric warfare. Missiles, drones, proxy militias, cyber operations, and most importantly, disruption. By targeting oil infrastructure, threatening shipping lanes, and supporting proxy groups across the Middle East, Iran can impose enormous economic and political costs. In other words, Iran doesn't need to win the war. It only needs to make the war painfully expensive for the United States and its allies. And the ripple effect of this conflict stretches far beyond the Middle East. Energy markets react instantly to any threat in the Persian Gulf. Oil prices surge, shipping insurance skyrockets, global inflation rises, and suddenly a regional conflict becomes a worldwide economic shock. This is where the real geopolitical question begins to emerge. If a sanctioned regional power can shake global markets despite overwhelming American military superiority, what does that say about the limits of US power? For Washington, the challenge is not just defeating Iranian military. The real challenge is maintaining global stability while doing so. Every missile fired, every carrier deployed, and every military operation carries enormous costs. And while the United States focuses resources in the Middle East, other powers are watching closely. China is expanding its influence in Asia. Russia is testing Western resolve in Europe. And emerging powers across the global south are increasingly pursuing independent foreign policies. The question is no longer whether the United States remains powerful. It clearly does. The question is whether a single power can still dominate a world that is becoming increasingly multipolar. The confrontation between the United States and Iran may seem like a regional conflict, but its implications are global. Because every crisis that exposes the limits of American power slowly reshapes the balance of the international system. The United States still stands as the most powerful nation on earth, but the era of uncontested dominance may be fading, and the outcome of conflicts like this one will determine what kind of world comes next. A world still led by the United States, or a world where power is far more contested than ever before.